Greetings, aliens. This is TJ, and you're watching Studio Sessions with Astronoize. Today, I want to discuss how I go about setting up gear for just like production, and it even kind of ties into, it's pretty similar to how I would set up for my live DJ sets. So, today, in particular, I'm going to use my Elektron Analog RYTM and the Behringer TD-3 for example. Just these couple pieces of gear, and I am using Pro Tools as my DAW of choice. These techniques are going to be pretty similar across the board though. So let me just talk about how they're connected first. The Elektron, obviously both of them require their own power cable, and then my Elektron, the timing is going to be kept through a USB cable. So Pro Tools is where I set my BPM, which is set to 142 right now. You can see up here in the top left part of my session. And then that USB is going to send out the clock signal to the Elektron and tell it to stay at the 142 BPM. So real quick, I just go up here to Setup, Playback Engine, and this is for Pro Tools again, but it's probably pretty similar to other DAWs. Actually, it's not Playback Engine that I wanted to show you first, but while we're here, I'll mention the buffer size. For latency, which is the delay between when I hit like a pad or something or press play on my Elektron, had the delay between when it gets played back through your speakers or headphones, which you want to keep that to a minimum. So try to turn your buffer size to the lowest samples it'll go to. Mine's 32. That just means as soon as I hit play, I'm going to hear sound playback in my headphones or speakers or whatever. Whereas if I put it at the highest setting, 124, there's going to be a little delay between when I hit a pad or when I hit play, and it's kind of hard to live jam to that because, again, there will be a delay. So you'll hit the pad, and then like a split second later, you'll hear it in your headphone, which kind of throws off your timing. So I guess we'll start with that. Just put your samples to the lowest it'll go. Mine's 32 in this case. Hit OK. But then back up here in Setup, you actually go to MIDI, and in Pro Tools, it's called MIDI Beat Clock. And then you just make sure Elektron Analog RYTM is selected. And that just means it is talking and sending out a signal through that USB cable to my Elektron. That way it keeps it in time. So whenever I hit play in my session, it'll start playing on my Elektron. So then what I am doing is I'm going stereo out of my Elektron, just plugged into my Digi002 interface. So it's taking up if you can see here on the rhythm track, it's going into mic/line input 3/4. You could do that mono if you're just going to record everything mono, but the Elektron itself has some like delay and reverb effects that are in stereo, so I wanted to go stereo out with that one in particular. So then from my Elektron, how I'm going to keep the TD-3 in time is I send out a MIDI signal, and I'm using a MIDI cable that's going out of the MIDI out sync A on the Elektron, and then it's going into the MIDI input on the TD-3. So that just means whenever I hit play in the session, Elektron's going to play because it's connected via USB. Then that MIDI cable is going to make the TD-3 play as well. So it's getting everything synced up and keeping everything in time that way. Yeah, so that's it for the Elektron. The TD-3 is pretty much similar to that. Like I said, the MIDI's keeping that in time because it's connected to the Elektron. Then it's obviously got to have its own power supply. Then I'm going just mono out because that's just a mono synth, the TD-3 is. And that's just going into, I actually have a preamp, the Rupert Neve preamp, and that's just adding a little bit of extra harmonics, a little bit more thickness. That's going into right here, my TD-3. That's just going into mic line input 1 into my session here. And yeah, that's how everything's connected up. And so, anyways, let's see here. So when I hit play on my Elektron, it's going to play, since I got both of these tracks record enabled, you'll see the TD-3 will just play at the same time. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. It makes it easy to jam to, and that's similar to how like a live DJ setup goes. Okay, so the next thing I guess I should mention here is within the Elektron settings, you have to go to the MIDI configuration and make sure it is sending out a clock signal to the TD-3. You just go to the global settings, MIDI configuration, then you go to the sync tab and just make sure clock send is the little check mark, the box is checked next to that. That just means it's sending out its clock signal that it's getting from Pro Tools into the TD-3. It's keeping that all in time here. If you have any other questions, just you can contact me on social media. Look up Astronoize Music. You can message us on there or comment on this YouTube video. Let me know if you learned anything from it. Let me know what you want to see next time. But anyways, until next time, keep making music. Peace.